When we talk about the richest people in history, most people think of modern billionaires like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or Bill Gates. But what if I told you the richest person ever lived over 700 years ago? His name was Mansa Musa. He was the ruler of the Mali Empire in West Africa, and historians believe he was the richest person to ever walk the earth. Mansa Musa was born in the year 1280 in Mali. At that time, Mali was already a powerful and wealthy empire because of its natural resources. The land was rich in gold, salt, ivory, and other valuable materials. Trade routes from across Africa and beyond passed through Mali, making it a busy place where merchants and travelers came from all over the world. When Mansa Musa became the king in 1312, he didn't just inherit a throne, he inherited an empire full of gold. During his rule, Mali controlled half of the world's gold supply. In those days, gold was the most valuable thing anyone could own. People used it for trade, for making jewelry, for gifts, and to show off their power. And in Mali, the king owned all the gold in the land. That made Mansa Musa incredibly rich. Mansa Musa's story isn't only about being rich, he was also a deeply religious man. In 1324, he made a famous pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. This journey was known as Hajj, and every Muslim who can afford it is expected to do it at least once in their lifetime. But Musa's pilgrimage was not like any ordinary journey. It was one of the largest and most extraordinary processions the world has ever seen. He left Mali with a caravan of 60,000 people. There were soldiers, officials, servants, merchants, and citizens. Among them were 12,000 slaves, and each of them carried 4 pounds of gold. There were also 80 camels, and each camel carried about 300 pounds of gold dust. Mansa Musa traveled with food, water, clothes, and supplies for the thousands of people in his caravan. Wherever they passed, they built mosques and gave food and gifts to the local people. When they reached Cairo, Egypt, Mansa Musa's generosity shocked everyone. He gave away huge amounts of gold to the poor, the traders, and the rulers. He spent so much money in the markets and gave so many gifts that it caused a problem in Egypt's economy. The sudden overflow of gold reduced its value, and for the next 12 years, the country suffered from inflation. Historians say this was the first time in history that a single person's wealth changed the economy of an entire nation. After completing his pilgrimage to Mecca, Mansa Musa returned to Mali, but he didn't stop there. He used his remaining wealth to improve his empire. He ordered the construction of mosques, libraries, and universities. The most famous of these is the Djinguereber Mosque in Timbuktu. This mosque was designed by an architect Mansa Musa, met during his travels in Cairo. He invited the architect to Mali, where he helped build mosques and schools. Under Mansa Musa's rule, Timbuktu became one of the greatest centers of education and culture in Africa. Scholars, writers, and poets came from across the Islamic world to study there. The libraries of Timbuktu held thousands of books, and students from different regions came to learn about religion, science, and history. Mansa Musa ruled for 25 years. He died in 1337, but his legacy lives on. His empire continued to flourish for a time, but no one could ever match the wealth, wisdom, and generosity of Mansa Musa. His story reminds us of a time when African empires stood tall and powerful, when gold flowed through cities, and when a single man could become a legend, not only because of his fortune, but because of how he used it. Even today, people remember Mansa Musa as the wealthiest person in history and one of the greatest African rulers of all time.